Hmm. So, I have been posed this question many times that why are you not reviewing Kannada films? You've been reviewing mostly Malayalam films, then Telugu, then Tamil, but why not Kannada since such a long time? And my answer was very simple, if the producers do not want any discussions around their films and if they are throwing in legal notices for actually criticizing their products, then I'm not interested in, watching Kannada films. And I'm glad that even the audience has reciprocated this time in a content that is actually good, that has prompted me to bring the Kannada film back on the channel, and Kannada discussions back on the channel. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today, the film that we are going to be discussing is a runaway hit. It's absolutely a runaway hit, so much so that the shows that I thought were very minimal in Bombay in the first week, or Mumbai should I say, in the first week has actually increased in its second weekend or the third weekend, which I happened to watch. The film that we are going to be discussing is the Kannada film called Su From So, which is, produced by Raj B. Shetty and is directed by J.P. Thuminad. And first thing that I have to say is it's such a wonderful, charming little horror comedy. And I never thought I would use these words together for a horror comedy. It's refreshing, it's charming, and it has a very groundedness that absolutely makes you ponder but also thoroughly entertains you along the way. Now, coming to the story and screenplay, the first thing that I noticed, about Su From So is the colorful characterization of the village where the drama is set in. The cold open that you see is that of a funeral that takes place. A funeral that takes place, and in that funeral, you are introduced to the characters one by one, and the key thing to take away from that is that none of them are interested in the funerals. One of them is asking how long would it take for the food to be served. Another one, they're gossip mongers, they're gossiping at the funeral. Another one is playing glances with another female character, almost to woo her at a funeral. This adds to the colorful opening sequence of the film as well, that absolutely draws you in. It's almost like a panchayat world. If you watch the Hindi show Panchayat, it's panchayat but on steroids, where each character has some definition. Now these may not be the main characters as well, they may be tertiary characters as well, but the flavor of the village really comes through. When I'm saying tertiary, I'm saying the characters that are unnamed or on the fringes. For example, there's one person who refuses to dance because his shirt would get creased. There's another character who is wiry but is piling on food at a certain event. So these are tertiary characters that contribute to the flavor of the village, in a very significant manner. And if these were removed, the flavor of the village would actually come down, and it adds to the complexity and the texture of the drama. But coming to the characterization, you are introduced to the character of Ravi, which is played by Shanil Gautam. He's a bachelor, middle-aged bachelor. You also have his right-hand man, who's played by Satish, who just repeats what he says. That's all that he has to do. There's another character called Chandra, who's only called when the villagers need his rickshaw. There's another character who called Yadu, I would say, who just is the committee head and likes gathering people and making speeches all together. And these are just hilarious kind of characters that are there. There's another character who is the main protagonist, you can say, in a way, who around which the story revolves, and that has a flavor of its own. When the villagers assume that there's an evil spirit housing inside his body, that's the basic crux on how they remove it, or whether that character Ashoka, which is again played by the director and the actor JP Tuminad, How does he get out of that mess? That is the thing. Now the first thing that the drama tells you about is the evolution of the characters. Why do I say evolution? Because early on there are contrasting settings. I did give you an account of the funeral. There's another celebration that is on as well, and here you see that the characters are absolutely carefree. They're dancing, they're sloshed, and they are having a very gala time. The key word is carefree, without worrying about anything. Here, another point to note is that there are no women in this setup. There are women in the village, but not in the setup of being carefree. So they are either in the background or restricted to their homes, and that tells you a story or two about how the story is developing. And the comedy element of the film is something that it absolutely scores wholeheartedly, and that's what makes Sue from so wonderful, to witness. In a scene, you see a character who's actually a son of an ex-exorcist, and he's actually told, to perform the exorcism on the character of Ashoka, which is played by JP Thuminad, and that character has to just come. He doesn't even know how to light that fire, and that contributes to a lot of laughs. There's another exorcist who's brought into the fray simply because he's famous and he's on TV. So the moment he's on TV, everyone thinks he's the the genuine one. And that formulates hilarious moments that are there, and the frivolousness of the first half translates into something that is more pondering. It's almost a transition into a social drama with the introduction of another character whose life is told around the main plot of the film, and how that character contributes to the main plot, and what exactly changes in the lives of the villagers, and how do they have a coming of age drama of their own. I think that is the social drama aspect of it, which also doubles up as the emotional core of it. And having said that, it's also that the drama doesn't lose focus of its comedy in the first hour. There are plenty of moments in the second hour as well, which will eventually make you laugh. And I think that is something that was the genius of writing. One little criticism, if I can say, about the writing in the second hour was that it gets a little repetitive with the situations that it creates. Otherwise it could have wholly committed to the emotional journey of that female character, which is introduced at about the halfway mark or little after the halfway mark in the film, which is a very important character in the context of things. So you could have gone a little more ahead with the emotional core of that character. But having said that, there are no complaints, because the comedy elements, along with the balancing act of the social drama, which has bouts of horror, I would say, bouts of horror, that is significantly contributed to the success of the film as a whole. There are redemption arcs of couple of characters. There are coming of age stories of the entire village, how they are from carefree to something that they all come together. It's a rousing finale. When you actually witness the finale, it's nothing short of magical, and it's a while since I've witnessed that in a Kannada film. And this year has been a good year for the Kannada films. After Mahavatar, Narsimha. Earlier I had even watched the film Mithya, which was a lovely little film which is there on Amazon Prime. The screenplay here definitely manages to shine. Coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music and the direction, I think the dialogues are hilarious. They're witty and they play to the situation wonderfully well. The BGM also is very good. It's pulsating in moments of thrills or in chases that are there, but it almost complements the comedic sequences that the film creates through its characters and the colorful characters and the colorful villages that it formulates. I think that contributes significantly by the music which is there. The cinematography. The cinematography comprises of frames that are colorful. It almost epitomizes the colorful nature of the characters in this village, and it absolutely contributes well because you are invested in the drama. You want to know what's happening in this world, and it draws you in, and it's hilarious to the core. It keeps you connected with the characters as well, the framing. So I think that is another absolute positive which is there. The editing also, it manages the transitions really well. The film is almost like a frivolous comedy in the first hour to something a little bit of a serious social drama in the second hour. This transition is nicely maintained through the editing that is gradual. It doesn't stick out, the two halves do not stick out. Even in sequences within sequences, you see the editing patterns that are very crisp. Once a flashback is there, immediate flashback is there to the conversion of the solution, in the vicinity of that village. I think that's again a very nice little editing pattern that you see through. Director JP Thuminad, I think in his directorial debut, if I'm not wrong, he's an actor. I've reviewed his work as well earlier, but as a director, I think I'm reviewing it for the first time. I think he does a pretty solid job here. He understands the world that he creates, and the characters that he creates that do half the job for the film. So after a point, it is the characters who are driving the plot. The plot may seem decent, it may seem pretty straightforward if you look at it from a one-liner perspective, but the screenplay, the world building, the characterization is absolutely a winner for this film, and it absolutely made the audience go wild. I'm telling you that, it was absolutely hilarious and it found humor at so many different places. And credit to the director, for maintaining that thread without the film getting too heavy or preachy in the second hour. The connecting thread is always of a comedy, it's not of a social drama or a horror. Horror is only used as a medium to impart a certain pondering knowledge about the messaging of the film. It's just used for that's it. But otherwise, the driving force is the comedy, and it never leaves the tonality of the drama. Credit to the director JP Thuminad for that. Coming to the performances, I think rarely have I come across a film wherein every single character has something to do in the screenplay, whether they are primary characters, secondary characters, or tertiary characters. I don't like those terms, but just for the sake of explanation, there are unnamed characters with one-liners who absolutely make an impact as well. So this is that kind of a film, and it absolutely creates that kind of a vibe that significantly contributes, should I say, to the comedy of the drama. And amidst the standouts, there are Prakash Tumidadu, who plays Chandra, who's absolutely hilarious. There's Deepak, who plays Satish, wonderful actor as well. Some of the other actors also do a wonderful job. Sandhya is the core, the emotional core of the drama, a character that is introduced about the halfway mark, and I think she's wonderfully understated, uses her expressive eyes wonderfully well, and I think she does this amazing job. I think JP Thuminad also, who plays the character of Ashoka, does a good job. I did feel that maybe the conniving nature of that character could have been a little more enunciated as opposed to being understated. You seem hesitant but being a little street smart as well in the first half, which could have been a little more pronounced in my opinion. But by the time you see him in the climax, oh boy, he absolutely owns that climax. And I think it was a very brave kind of a performance at the end, with the attire that you see him, and I won't give any more spoilers, but it's a good performance overall. I think the pick of the actors also for me, a joint pick along with Sandhya, would be Shanil Gautam. I think Shanil Gautam has a very affable kind of an energy to the performances. In the scene, you just see him, riding a scooter, and because he was drunk, the scooter just goes off, without it being in neutral. And then just to cover it up, he says that I wanted to park the scooter. It was kind of a hilarious kind of a character, but with a redemption arc. There was a lovely redemption arc. In a scene, you see him literally touching a character who's possessed by a female ghost. Nothing to laugh in this, but the point being that he's so desperate about marriage. He's in the middle age where he's a bachelor still. So that is the driving force. It's not about objectification per se, which I am against, I would say, but this plot point actually adds to the character arc later on in the film, wherein he understands the other situation. Life gives him another chance of redemption, and not only does he redeem himself, but he also turns over a new leaf. And I think that is the driving force of the character of Shanil Gautam, which is Ravi Anna. And I think there are other characters who are sprinkled who absolutely create that environment of laughter and colorful nature of the drama. After a while, I've enjoyed a Kannada film from the comedy perspective. Okay, so because I watched Mithya earlier, it's a wonderful film, one of my favorite Kannada films, probably may make it in the top 10 films of the year as well, Mithya. Then came Mahavtar Nasimha out of nowhere, out of nowhere, and boy, did that create a banger. It's a 100 crore film in the Hindi circuit only. And now came Su from So, an alliteration of Sulochana from Someshwara, which absolutely, is a charming little horror comedy that is also pondering with a social message, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And this is the kind of Kannada films that I actually like. This is the voice. Every film cannot be a KGF, every film cannot be a Kantara. There are distinct voices that you need to set, and because with certain films that try to emulate the success of KGF and Kantara is the reason that I probably did not cover any Kannada film even on my website last year. Such was the quality last year, but I'm glad that it is picking up again, and this year has been a promising year for the Kannada film industry. I'm very happy for that, because I know subscriber base from my Kannada subscribers also on my channel. So well done, and well done to the audience for accepting this film also, and I think that's a big positive as far as I'm concerned. Su from So, recommended from my end. If you happen to watch it, then let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What did you make of it? Remember to like and / dislike the video. Any sort of engagement like liking or commenting helps a small creator like me. You can also hype the video in order for the algorithm to kick in. Share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. My detailed review of Su from So is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with the double S, the link of which is in the description box below. Also, follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Nokio. All links are in the description box below. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I do write a lot. All information is present on my site and on my social media handles. There are 2 amazing Hollywood horror films that are out this week. The detailed reviews you will find on my site, Popcorn Reviews with the double S. They are weapons, and together 2 bangers in the horror genre. So refreshing to watch that. Detailed reviews you'll find on my site. So lots to look forward to, and until then, until I get to my next video, thank you so much for your love and support as always, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.